Someone shot the food.
Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, May the 18th, 2020. I am Slacker. I'm eating a whole pound of fucking marshmallows that are dehydrated like candy from Lucky Charms because I'm hoping it'll give me superpowers to stay up during this entire show. And of course, you're watching Mr. Video Games here live on Dead Sun Entertainment. Good to see you, Giant Pie. Welcome, everyone who watches this show. Always good to have people here. But of course, we got other people with us today. The usual, they are returning and other things. We have, of course, returning champion, the best boy that we could possibly have here on the show. Because of budget reasons, it's Brian, aka Wonder Boy. What's up, everyone?
Funny you mentioned budget reasons because hello everyone. Let me get the hellos out of the way. Hello everyone. I am very happy to be here today. I am full of vigor and excitement to discuss all things video games because dear God, do we have a lot of video game stuff to discuss. But I have to start off with one thing because unfortunately it did not make the cut for our Mr. Video Games this week, but it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. Did anyone catch the season finale of The Blacklist on Friday?
I did not. I'm not even familiar with the show, to be honest with you.
Okay, mainly the only thing you need to know is that James Spader likes to like kill people and be secret about shit, and he's all right. He's an anti-hero. He's a bad man. So
Okay.
the show was going to its fucking its season finale, but it due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they had to cut filming short, so they didn't finish the entire episode. And so what we got to finish out the episode was about 20 minutes of this base level CGI animation that makes half the episode look like a PlayStation 2 game that was intercut with the live action footage that they already shot. It is one of the best things in the world in terms of ingenuity and creativity to finish out a story of something, but it looks atrocious. It looks bad, but also like in an endearing way, outstanding. I don't know. It's an odd thing to wrestle with, but it's just so weird looking. It's just so odd.
That is cool as hell. Like, I've just been watching, I finally caught up on Glow, and holy shit, the end of that season, I didn't see coming, and it's great, and I love it, and I take back any complaints that I have at the beginning of the season that it was too much fucking, because now I understand why all the fucking.
Yeah, like I said, wrestling is fucking.
It sure as hell is, and God, I love Glow. Anyway, also with us today, the best girl that we can get without trying to reopen the Canadian borders. It's Lindsay, aka Marilyn. Welcome back to the show.
Soon. And then all the boozy gay nights will be had.
Hey.
So you guys have been watching cool stuff. I'm re-binging Criminal Minds while I paint. So I've just been living art lately.
Yeah, I've been watching that owl. It's definitely an owl. Hey, Kelvin, how you doing?
Nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs a little bit of art in their life.
Yeah, I'm finding paint by numbers is like the ultimate in Zen.
There you go. Everybody needs a little bit of that right now. My zen is doing the dishes.
Mhm.
So
I did that tonight too.
My Zen seems to be focusing way too hard on work and video games than it's supposed to be focused. So, you know, I don't know if that's Zen. Is that Zen? I don't know what I have anymore.
it's zen if you make your work focusing on video games. What if your job was focusing on video games?
Well, then I'd be playing probably like a resource management game, and I haven't been doing that.
So you're just basically like jumping into Eve again.
Oh no. Oh, never. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't need
Get those
spreadsheet management.
spreadsheets.
Nope, refused. Even in my most desperate of times, I will not resort to Eve.
No. Instead, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Hard Mode. Oddly, it's not as bad as I thought it would be to play the hard mode. Here's why. It feels like the game is balanced around hard mode. You know, like all those fights that you didn't really have all of the things that you needed, so you kind of waffled your way through it. You have all that shit by the time you hit to hard mode, because you have to beat the game once to get to hard mode. So you have everything. And the moment that you get to chapter 2, you're at max level and start maxing out your weapons. It's fucking great. There's a fucking enchantment you can put on all of your weapons that you can just fucking die once and it's fine.
So it's basically like a new game plus. Like you carry your characters over.
It's so the differences are it is harder. Some of the bosses have more attacks and are going to spam like the crowd control stuff. And you do not have the ability to either use items or restore mana during a chapter.
Oh.
Yeah, the only mana that you're going to get during the course of each chapter is what you find in those little Shinra boxes. And, Eris can absorb mana. So that's what you get. That's what you're making it through the game on.
So it forces you to go back into the drawing system.
Yeah, so you may worry, like, what about healing myself? Well, suddenly, like, once you get to this point in the game, if you're not using prayer and chakra, do it. Because that shit is way more powerful than I thought it was until the game made me fucking use it. Like, holy shit, why have I been curing myself this whole time? You level up that stuff and you get like 500 AP every time you beat a fight. Fuck it, you might as well just put all of your high heavy materia on and go to fucking town. It's great.
Huh.
Yeah, you'll unlock all of the things. So it's the first time in my life I've ever been glad that I've done a hard mode run of literally anything. So kudos to that.
So would you have preferred like the balancing of the hard level mode to be like the base game that you played through the first time, or
No.
okay?
And here's why. It's the same reason like when I first beat the game, that I didn't feel like I understood the game until I beat it. Well, I still learned more things as I played through hard mode. If I hadn't had that understanding of the mechanics, hard mode would have kicked my ass and I would not have wanted to play it. Slacker's sexy face is very tired right now because his sleep schedule is fucked. So he's hiding it behind randomly generated waifus that don't actually exist. So enjoy those.
Just look at Cloud's face.
Mm-hmm. Look at that sexy face. That is the sexiest face you can possibly get. But yeah, no. I would not ever recommend somebody, like, you literally can't play hard mode first, but even if you could, it's a bad idea, because the game kind of requires for you to know, like, oh yeah, if I dodge while in Punisher mode, I'll do a counterattack against certain types of attack, and if I get this certain spell cast on me, here's a good way to nullify that before it's a problem. Rada rada rada. You're not gonna know that shit the first time, but it's a good second time playthrough mechanic that it's weird because like all of the nitpicks I had with the fights beforehand that I didn't like were not there when I played them again because I had all the stuff and I didn't have to worry.
Okay.
John Pye, to answer your question, abs. Anyway, Brian, I understand you too play video games and don't draw and do arts and crafts.
No, I am terrible at drawing or doing arts unless they're of the written variety. But in lieu of that, I played some video games this week. Those being mainly Apex Legends and the game you see before yourself now, Stellaris. I know Stellaris is an older game. It came out originally about 4 years ago, I want to say. But I got heavily into Stellaris this weekend, mainly because Paradox made the game free to play for the weekend. And so anybody that had a passing curiosity about it could jump in. And it coincided with them releasing their latest patch for the game as well. Basically, if you're not familiar with Stellaris, it's a 4X space game. Like, it's basically just building space civilizations and interacting with, it's basically civilization in space, but even more minutia, I feel like. And because of that, I always felt intimidated by it. And when it first came out, I saw it and I'm like, this looks really cool, but I would never be able to get my mind around everything in it. And I would just frustrate myself if I tried to play it, so I never touched it. I watched streams of it. I know Waypoint did a really good series with this game a couple of years ago, and so I live vicariously through people that played it. Fitting you say that, Kel. I mean, Crusader Kings is basically the sister to this series, both made by Paradox, and I honestly like diving into it for free this weekend. It came a lot easier than I thought it would, and I got sucked in immediately. Like the systems, it looks like a lot, but the systems are a lot easier to learn than I expected, and I found myself just kind of getting sucked into the world and the repetition of actions within it, and then just looking at all the small little details within everything. I truly adore it. I've logged about like 8 to 10 hours or so far in my first game, and I've really liked it. So much so that my partner actually bought it for me after the free weekend was over, because I just got sucked into it, and they thought it was really cute for some reason that I got sucked into it. So I've been playing a lot of this. I've been really enjoying it. I want to learn more about. I even playing for that long a time, like there's still a lot more about like the breakdowns and stuff within it to learn, and I'm very excited to actually jump into a game like that. I feel like I have time to actually devote to learning a game like that. And it's been a really fun experience. It's also a game that I might end up streaming at some point because like this is something that you can really like build into like the philosophies of it. And like I haven't really messed around with building the custom races yet, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. I feel like
it's the weird, like I hate to use this pun, but I literally can't think of a better way to state it. There's a paradox to Paradox games that they look way more complicated, and then you get into them and you understand them, they're intuitive, and then as you play it even more, you realize this game is really complicated. They were hiding it from me, and now I know that this game has so much tiny little minutia in it that I didn't realize that it had before. I was afraid of the other minutia that was not very big, and then there's this minutia.
Yeah, it just keeps peeling back layers and layers of stuff in it, and every new layer is just something that I just want to keep diving into more and more. Like I'm really enjoying this one. I know I'm definitely late to the party on it, but they're still releasing. I know they just released a console edition of it last year, and I think they're still working on expansions. I know they have a number of expansions that have already come out, but I think they're still working on stuff. Obviously, they just had a new patch come out along with the weekend there, so I really dug it. And then I'll just quickly touch on Apex because season 5 launched. Introduced a new legend in Loba, who is much more focused on kind of being an improving inventories for your characters. Like basically her ult like pulls a lot of, basically you drop your stake in the middle of an area and it pulls all of the items from that area into one spot, dubbed the black market, where you and your team can kind of have one access point to everything around you, which is nice. She also has a teleporting ability via a ring that she throws. So she's fun to play with mechanically. I've been trying to figure out exactly where she fits in terms of some of the strategies used in Apex, but I found her to be a really good support character in that way, even though she really only helps improve gear, and that really only helps improve a team to a certain extent, especially when you get into late game. Definitely less useful than like someone like Lifeline or Gibraltar when it comes to support characters, I would say. But yeah, like I've really enjoyed playing as her. I don't like how hypersexualized she is. That's really frustrating to see, especially as some people pointed out with some people that I know in gaming journal circles. She's your first Latinx character that you're introducing to the series. Well, maybe not the first, but at least the first female one. Because I believe Octane is also Latinx. I'm not positive on that though. Don't quote me. So the fact that she comes in and she's immediately hypersexualized, even though her whole like story is based around basically shooting toxic masculinity in the face, literally, is really kind of odd to sit with and really feel, especially because like I like playing as the character. But outside of that, they also introduced a wave-based system, basically a horde mode in the game as well. I haven't had a chance to check that out yet, but yeah, I'm curious to see what that holds. I don't know. I'll keep. Obviously, I'm going to keep digging into it. I'll have more to talk about next week, I think, especially regarding the horde mode that they put in. But yeah, we'll see. So far, thumbs up for the most part. Although, rethink how you portray your characters, maybe.
I will definitely say I was just flipping through like the various skins and that they've brought out for her. Her one legendary skin, it's called Bootlegger.
Oh, yes.
Absolute love with that look. Like that is stellar. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, like her legendary skins are all pretty good for the most part. But yeah, Bootlegger is top notch.
Fair enough. Well, shall we get to the news then?
Yes.
All right. I'm just going to jump straight to the video on this one because holy shit, the Unreal Engine is pretty. And yeah, I'd love to put this in theater mode right now, but my capture always fucking borks when I put things in full screen, so fuck that. Anyway, this was basically the big announcement that the Video Game Awards were hyping up for, and they had like a whole interview with the developers of this as well. But the meat and potato of that really was showing off this little demo of the engine. Now, of course, this isn't a real game, but this is all running on the PlayStation 5 hardware right now, and the the development software should be out next year. You have a whole lot of dynamic lighting. You have so many tiny, itty bitty triangles in this, which they're showing off right now. It's a good time. Each one of those tiny itty bitty dots, some of them are sub-pixels big, is another fucking triangle. And apparently it loads super silky, according to the developers, especially on new SSD hardware, which is surprising to me, but also man, this is fucking pretty. Jim Sterling, when I was watching him, did make an interesting point that we're getting to the point where we can really have backgrounds that are hyper realistic, but the character models still kind of have been the same for the last 3 or 4 years, and I don't disagree with that, but holy shit, the scenery in this is goddamn gorgeous, and that you're not paying direct attention to the character models nearly as much, I don't think. So this is a hell of a step forward to watch.
No, I completely agree. Like, I honestly feel like the showcase elements of a video game graphically are never the player models. It never should be the player models. I know, like, jumping from Xbox One to Xbox 360, a lot of focus was put on character models, but now it's much more the environments around them. It always has been a major element of it, and honestly, it's going to be the thing that's really going to take advantage of the graphical leap that we're going to see to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. And this trailer just proves it more and more, especially in the hands of Epic, who know their way around building stellar game engines. I was no surprise that Unreal 5 looks this way. I was kind of surprised that they were working on, or that they put out Unreal 5 already. I figured that it would probably be a year into the console, honestly, but it doesn't surprise me at all that they were able to get this together and put it out ahead of the console releases. It goes to show that Epic is definitely not just working on Fortnite over there, which, I think is pretty easy to understand. No, I really like how this looks. There was some controversy saying that they were masking loading times during this trailer, which honestly I know Epic came out and denied, and even then, like, the loading times are still, look, even if there was some masking on there, we've seen what the PS5 can do with loading time. So I don't know if there's really a ton of concern there. Outside of that, though, the engine, it looks gorgeous, and I can't wait to see what people do with it. I mean, look at how much was made with Unreal 4.
Yeah.
Like how many stellar looking games were made with Unreal 4, and just imagine what a graphical leap like this can do.
Yeah, the Unreal Engine definitely gets around. And we're going to see this in a lot of places.
Yeah, I mean, typically you see either Unreal or Unity. So
Yeah.
if this is what Unreal is bringing to the table for the next generation, like, I think we're going to see a lot more done with Unreal than we do with Unity in the future.
Well, it also kind of, I think, really, Unity caters a lot more to indie titles, I would say. So it wouldn't surprise me if, like, especially ones that commit to a certain art style, Unity is better for that in some ways. But in terms of, like, major AAA stuff for studios that don't already have like in-house engines, like, this looks like the go-to right now. Especially whenever you think about other AAA engines that are running. Like, the only one I can think that might be comparable is I can't remember the name of it, but the engine that Kojima developed alongside
the
Guerrilla
Fox engine.
Games. No, the one that he developed for Death Stranding that him and Guerrilla did together. Fox Engine's not getting used for anything because Konami owns that, and Konami ain't making shit.
Yeah, what a waste.
It is a waste. It is a waste. But no, I think, like, that engine is really the only one that I feel competes with this right now. But even then, this blows that engine out of the water.
That would be the Decima engine.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you for doing the research that I was too lazy to do right now.
Research nerd.
Yeah. No, but this looks great. I think Unity will still have its place, but, like, this, just think about how this will look, and then think about what Frostbite's going to look like on PS5. Just think about that for a second.
It's a bit of a difference. What surprised me was how much they were playing up. This is on PS5. This is on engine on the PS5, and it's on other platforms too. But the PS5, I'm wondering if Sony paid to specifically do that, or if they have some sort of deal to, you know, basically highlight each other for a little while. It's really strange to hear that from a cross-platform gaming engine.
I mean, sorry, go ahead, Lindsay.
Well, you know, it might also be because like Ubisoft has just come out to say, "Hey, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're not getting 60 frames. Sorry, you're getting 30 at a 4K resolution."
Mhm.
Even on the next gens, so PS5, Xbox One X, or Series X, or whatever it is. The only things that'll be able to see anywhere close to 60 frames is we're looking at like the super high end, oh my god, I've mortgaged a house gaming PCs.
Right.
So I think this is also a way for Sony to jab it at Xbox and go, we can do this.
It doesn't
Why
help that
can't you?
the trailers that Microsoft put out last week were not exactly trailers and wasn't exactly met with a whole lot of positivity.
No, it doesn't help, but it's also odd messaging considering that like Epic, an Epic Sony partnership and promotion wouldn't surprise me, but Epic's also been out there today vocally saying that, talking about Fortnite moving to the next gen consoles, both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, which obviously they're both going to move they're going to move to both consoles because that's just Epic. They want their game on every single platform that they can have it on. But I don't know. It's interesting to think, like, I don't think this goes beyond anything more than a promotion tool in that way. And I think that considering that Sony right now, I think, but the PlayStation 4 puts Sony back in the forefront in terms of console makers, and the sales numbers have been outstanding. So if you're going to partner with one of them to promote the release of your engine, maybe you partner with the one that already has the largest install base going into the next console generation. Either way, I don't think it amounts to much outside of them touting the PlayStation 5 again. With, of course, they're going to keep touting the PlayStation 5 every which way that they in every possible place that they can, because they have an announcement coming up over the summer. So yeah, I mean, Xbox has already been out there talking about their console much more than Sony has. So this is just another way that Sony can keep their console in your brain while not actually talking about it.
Yeah, what really gets me is, especially during their conversation, right, is that you can port directly from 4 to 5 as far as the engine, and as well, PlayStation's talked before about how, you know, the next gen, they're going to have a lot of the same configuration and hardware that they had previously with the PlayStation 4. So I'm kind of expecting people to come out of the gate having a whole lot of capabilities with the PlayStation 5. Consider previously, right, when you start a new generation, the games had a little bit of clunk to them for the first like release window, unless they were a major AAA game that were able to talk with the console manufacturers well beforehand and really get into that nitty gritty. Meanwhile, it tended to take 2 to 3 years for the industry at large to kind of catch up. So you got some kind of weird kludgy things. I'm betting we're not going to see that in this console generation. Now, you know, that's not the best bet to take, as I know there are so many what ifs and wins with that thought, but this could be beautiful.
I mean, I think that no matter how great the consoles are or how closely they're related to their predecessors, you're always going to have at least a little bit of clunk in a launch lineup. You know, I mean, as good as the PlayStation 4 was, we still had knack. I know knack gets a bad rap, but it's still knack. And like Kel points out in the chat, like Order 1886 was basically a glorified tech demo, and that game was nothing. It was 4 hours of nothing, but it was there to showcase what the system could do. I think that we're honestly, in my opinion, set for the best launch lineups across the console generation ever right now, because these systems, even the Xbox Series X, they're both very closely related to their predecessors, and they're really the major improvements are really just better hard drives, which give us better loading times and better graphical improvements. Those are the major two leap forwards with these consoles, and because you're not really reimagining the actual hardware to a vast extent, that jump is going to be so much easier for third-party developers to make. So yeah, there's going to be some jank in there. There always is. We're always going to have a Rise or an Order 1886, but they're going to be kept to a.
It occurs to me, thinking about it now, how weird it's going to be, say, if you get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, and then you go back to playing your Switch, which is already lower on the graphics end than the current gen, much less what's about to come out.
That's all right. I got Fire Emblem on my Switch, so I'll be perfectly fine.
It is very, very pretty. You're not getting that on the Xbox Series X, that's for damn sure.
Nope.
Well, hey, you know what you can get on your Xbox Series X? Hey, you can play The Culling.
This made me so angry.
Can I afford to play The Culling?
Only if you play one game of The Culling per day, yeah, you can totally afford it. But hey, if you want to play 3 extra matches today, hey, it's just $1. You get that, get that extra little cash influx into it.
I mean, if you play and you win, you get to play again.
There you go. Just get better, noob. You don't need to throw your, money into it. Or, you could pay the $5 a month and get a whole, $2 a month and $6 for, I believe, a couple of months.
No, it's $2 for a week and $6 per month.
That's it. I could not exactly remember the price discrepancy, despite the fact that the information is literally right fucking here. Either way, you want to play the game more than once per day, either get good or break out your fucking wallet one way or another. If you want to play however much you want to, hey, it's just a couple dollars. You don't have to get good, and you can just go in and play as much as you want to.
This actually just caused me to look at this in a different light.
Yeah?
What's that?
They're bringing back arcade gaming.
Yeah, basically.
You mean a price model that has not been viable for decades?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you play well at an arcade, you get to keep playing. Why not here? You don't have to put another quarter in the machine.
And
look, sorry.
They can say that they're doing good for society right now because it's arcade gaming, but socially distant.
I'm pretty sure that the Mortal Kombat 11 Friendships announcement is doing more for the arcade gaming at social distance than anything else, including The Culling. But I will say this much. This just cemented my opinion of the makers of The Culling, one that I've had for years at this point, because The Culling is a game that has... Oh, God. So, yes, The Culling, I believe, as they claim, was the first Battle Royale game whenever it came out, or at least one of the first. And as soon as PUBG got the notoriety that it did, that The Culling was out there. Like, we were the first! Why is PUBG getting all this press for something that we made, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, have you seen The Culling?
Yeah, PUBG put out a good game.
Exactly. That's why people are paying attention to PUBG. You might have done it first, but doing something first doesn't mean you always do it well. And dear God, did you not do it well?
Oh yeah, The Culling 2?
Oh yeah, I was about to say, evidenced by the fact of the sequel that you made that improved on nothing in the first game. So yeah, like cool. The calling's being shitty again. They went away for a while and they came back and they're being shitty. Cool. Like it's par for the course with them. If you get roped into that, then that's cool. Whenever you have all these other much better options in the battle royale sphere than the calling, unless you're just like diehard calling till I get in the grave, like that's cool and all, but Jesus Christ, I just do not understand how anyone could throw their support behind this game and this company now, especially after this. This is just.
Well, and to make it worse, it's not even like this is going to be a free game. It's got a recommended retail price of $5. So you've got to pay for the privilege to pay for game.
This reminds me of the concept that Hideo Kojima came up with back when he was developing the first Metal Gear. Do y'all remember this story?
No.
So whenever he was developing the first, I don't know if it was whenever he was developing Metal Gear or it was sometime after when he was exploring new ideas for games, but he came up with this idea of selling a game at a small price that basically you had one life in the game, and if you died in the game, that copy was not usable anymore, and you had to buy another copy of it. Hideo Kojima quickly ditched that idea because he realized that it would not be good for fans and it would only serve to piss them off. So a lesson that Hideo Kojima learned almost 30 years ago is now being put into play by the calling people. And lo and behold, they're getting shit on for it. Learn from the past.
I'm very sorry, Giant Pie. I could not stare at that website another second and had to go find a different one to look at. Because when I had it on with no ads going, looked fine, and then ads everywhere, and it hurt my eyes to stare at. Oh, I couldn't even hear what Brian was saying because my brain just kept going, look at all these fucking pop-ups, holy shit. Yeah, no, the developers clearly are garbage. Yeah, and Kelverin brings up a fair point. When the Culling one initially came out, it was jank, but it was kind of fun, but people came out with a better version of the thing they came out with, and they did not bother to keep up.
No. Such are games.
I can't imagine what market the Culling is going for, especially after the abysmal launch that was the Culling 2. Like, 7 people played that game. Most of them are reviewers that wanted to shit on the Culling 2.
I mean, you give people an easy target. Like,
Kelvin, I mean, yeah, there's, ads. I don't mind ads, even if they are, hey, here are boobies. It's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind the bikini random adverts for dumb shit. It's when they're fucking everywhere and just popping over in everything. I don't like. It reminds me of the Culling, honestly, because hey, this is a fairly decent thing, but we're just gonna shove everything in your face and hey, can you just pay for it? No, I can't. I can't pay for it. Thank you, the Culling. Boy, I'm grouchy when I'm tired. Anyway.
That happens.
Speaking of paying for things that you don't like, of course, antivirus was on the original launch of Doom to the PC, and we all knew that wasn't great. But now they have also included with the latest patch, which actually did bring some cool things into the game, new enemy styles and whatnot, and new looks for totally free. They also brought some anti-cheat protection, also from Denuvo, which does some eyeballing what into your kernel and shell to see what you've been doing in order to find out if there are any unloved mods that may be in there. And the internet is not having it.
Yeah, so I was gonna buy Doom, and I don't think I'm gonna now.
I'm really glad I have it on the PlayStation because you don't have to worry about any of this shit on there. Honestly, I don't think myself. I don't think it's that horrible, but it's not a good look. It
No, it's not. I'm torn on this in some ways because this sort of thing is better suited, I feel, for a game that really focuses on online multiplayer and a game that really depends on gameplay that can be fairly easily exploited through cheat engines and aim bots and stuff like that. Doom Eternal's not a game that ever struck me that way. Like, I know there's multiplayer in it, but
well, they
not
vary. Like when you first launch the game, it shows you your avatar that you would be using for multiplayer. Like none of the emotes that you can grab through that launch in screen. They're very much trying to make this an online game when it doesn't feel like one to me, but man, they want it to be.
that's the thing. It's like Doom is not necessarily like, I know like the original Doom and Doom 2 like online multiplayer stuff, like that was really seminal in terms of developing, multiplayer FPS modes and scenarios and stuff like that. But the Dooms of the modern Dooms like don't really feel like the online multiplayer is a huge component of them, even though they want to message like they are. Like I know the first Doom, oh God, why can't I remember the name of the mode? Where like you could make like multiplayer maps for yourself. I'll find it in a second.
Hmm.
But Snap Map, that's what it was.
Right.
Snap, like you had the Snap Map mode, and then you had the online multiplayer, which people dogged on because it wasn't that good to begin with. I'm sure it got to some kind of like benign point by the end of that game's life cycle. But Doom Eternal, like I can tell you right now, I've been paying attention to Doom Eternal the same as you, Trav. I do not remember any real like focus on the multiplayer aspect of that game at all. So there's no reason to really look at Doom Eternal as an online game. The fact that they are implementing an anti-cheat engine in that is really surprising to me. The same thing came up with Valorant. A lot of people, like, since Riot forced you to install their anti-cheat software to have the game operating at first. I know you can uninstall it, all that good stuff afterwards. Like that caused a lot of concern with people, and I think that's a much more rightful concern to have, or it's a rightful inclusion to have that in Valorant, than it is in this game. Like this makes no sense. This just seems like they want to open up a security a security hole for to where they can access stuff, or where there's the potential.
Yeah, I mean, this sort of thing has put a bad mouth in the market, especially after the all of the backdoor stuff that Sony put into even their CD music. Getting people to trust you to put something that looks at your fucking kernel is difficult. Myself, I don't believe that Denuvo is going to do anything horrible with it, but they haven't worked to earn that trust from people either. I don't give a fuck because there isn't anything that I would think of that they would look into a kernel for myself. That doesn't make it for everyone.
Yeah. Exactly. I think the concerns are valid, especially for a game that really doesn't need to have this sort of implementation in it. Like I just don't see how they can justify doing this on such a wide scale. Like if you want to do something like this where people that want to include it because they really like competing in the online multiplayer and stuff like that, that's fine, but this just struck me as odd. Especially considering all the concerns that have been going around about the Valorant one.
I mean, to me, the deeper access a program has into my system, the more possibility there is for exploitation from an outside source. And that's not a risk I'm willing to take. Like, my life is not my computer.
You would be surprised how many programs that you probably already have on your computer have access to kernel.
Oh, probably.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't strike me as the hugest deal unless you're really getting into some odd shit. But it is there, and like I said, they haven't earned the right to do this, especially not from Bethesda.
No. No, not at all. And also, let's remember, our definition of weird shit is not the government's definition of weird shit necessarily.
Also
So,
true.
Yeah. So who knows? Like, I guess this creates potential problems. It doesn't outright create a problem. It creates concerns over a problem. And I would say, if you really have concerns over the problem, don't play Doom Eternal on your PC.
Absolutely, you have all the right to be concerned over this. Just because I'm not concerned doesn't mean you shouldn't.
Exactly. It just really sucks that they did this and have to cause people that concern.
Yeah, or the people who just already have it installed and, their Steam updates and slaps the shit on their game. They didn't ask for this. It wasn't there when it initially launched.
Yeah.
But you know who is trying, and by gosh, they're trying? Anthem.
Oh, are they trying?
Eurogamer, I don't care about winning your prizes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt Wales over at Eurogamer, by the way, for writing on it. They're looking to do a substantial reinvention of the game because Anthem, it's not unplayed, but it's not played.
No, and we've talked about this before, like Anthem 2.0 or Anthem Next, as they're calling it internally, and now externally as well, is definitely in the works because when you get it wrong the first time, what better way to do it to address it than to just do it all over again? I will say this much though, at least from the initial reports prior to this update from BioWare that came out this past week, it seemed like they were at least taking a more like focused approach on what to do with the game, especially considering like whenever you compare that to the reports about the dev cycle of the game itself from Jason Schreier's Kotaku articles. Jesus.
Ooh.
Anyway, so basically BioWare released an update saying that Anthem 2.0, as I'm going to keep calling it, is currently in incubation, which basically amounts to prototyping, discussing about what to do with the game, that sort of stuff. And they've basically given it to, right now, only a small team within BioWare itself. About 30 people are working on it right now. And they just basically came out and said, like, yeah, we're taking our time with it. It's gonna be a long time before anything comes out about this, like in terms of any like new game or anything like that. But they've obviously like they're wanting to stay in contact with people that are playing the game, people that were upset with the game, and let them know how they're developing this new version of it going forward, and to keep an eye out for dev blogs and all this other stuff, basically just keeping updates on what they're working on as they keep plugging away at this thing. But it's the start of a marathon, it looks like, to get this new version of the game up. And I think it honestly points to a very good time to ask the question. Do we need to redo Anthem?
I mean, I think John Borg brings up an interesting comparison to, Final Fantasy XIV when it launched wasn't exactly the most loved game ever. And then they took their time and slowly developed a Realm Reborn. And now I believe it is, if not one of the most popular MMOs out there, which you would probably have asked when Final Fantasy XIV came out. Do we need another MMO? Like, look at Final Fantasy XI. It existed, but it wasn't exactly a big win for Square Enix.
No, but we're also Final Fantasy 14 was an iteration in a long-running series that had a built-in fan base that was clamoring for a better version of that game. Anthem is a completely new IP that has no lore behind it at all, and completely ruined its install base with its initial launch.
Tell me more about how much you love this game.
Well, that's the thing. Like the gameplay itself is fine, if not repetitive. There were elements of Anthem that are good. And there are elements of those same elements of Anthem could be carried over to a game that could actually take advantage of it. But I don't know if it's really. I don't know if the manpower is worth revamping Anthem or trying to just take what they learned works and doesn't work from Anthem and just doing something new again. Like, the reason why I think A Realm Reborn worked is because you already had that installed fan base. You already had these decades of lore surrounding Final Fantasy. Even if all the games are different stories in different worlds, with some similarities carrying over and that sort of thing, you had something that already had a history to it. Something that could be built upon, something that could, support this redemption story of a developer coming in and building something new out of the ashes of garbage. I don't know if you'll see the same sort of success with Anthem. I know that we've gotten into this cycle with game development where you put something out that is not necessarily straight up trash, but is definitely broken on release, and then 6 months later you make it into the actual product that should have shipped. We've seen that more and more and more and more, especially as games as a service has risen as a go-to model for monetization within video games. Rainbow Six Siege is the first one that comes to mind as probably the poster child of how that sort of cycle works. And good on them, because they turned a game that was dead on arrival at launch into something that is now, we'll talk about it later, is causing Ubisoft to sue for millions of dollars because they want to protect something. They want to protect Rainbow Six Siege. Imagine on the day, the week of release of Rainbow Six Siege, if you thought that Ubisoft was going to be throwing out court cases to protect this game. Not necessarily the Rainbow Six franchise. This specific game. It's mind-blowing in that way. But, I just don't know. You had... most instances of this happening have been with series that have some sort of fan support to fall back on. They haven't been burned in the past by something. They always have something to go back to. This as much as I want BioWare to have something to hang their hat on now, because they have had a good chunk of misses in the past console cycle, I don't know if Anthem's it. And I will definitely welcome a new improved Anthem if it does end up that way. I just think that they might be better served to take the lessons learned and the mechanics that did work in that thing and try again. And if you're saying that it's going to be taking a long time for you to put out this new version of Anthem, you could probably spend that time developing something new to make what you originally wanted to do with Anthem, and actually implement something that way with the things that you learned from Anthem.
Now, something that you said fairly early on when we started discussing this article made me think. You said that they're referring to it as Anthem Next.
Yes.
Do you think maybe, just maybe, with calling it that publicly, that they're trying to play off of the successes that No Man's Sky had? Because their big update that fixed the game and brought it to what they had promised was the next update.
I would not be surprised at all.
No.
Especially considering that's another poster child example of this. And it's really the only one without a consistent franchise to stand on that was able to do that to the scale that it has. I mean, No Man's Sky, that thing was getting lambasted for the first 6 months of its release. And then the next update, along with pretty much every update after that, has really made that game into a top tier thing that a lot of people really like, even if the people that were originally burned continue to throw like gasoline on the fire of the hate for that game that a lot of people. And like the messaging, I think that the messaging is very, very transparent. I think that they're basically doing the exact same thing. So even down to the branding of it, I just think that there wasn't. If you're comparing Anthem to No Man's Sky, I feel like both games had a vast amount of imagination that went into the development of their core mechanics and what they wanted to do with their systems and their environments within it and what you do in those games. Even comparing Anthem to No Man's Sky, though, like Anthem feels like a step below, even like base No Man's Sky in some ways. So I don't know. Plus, No Man's Sky, it seemed like they weren't waffling on whether to continue supporting that thing and building it into something that people wanted. With Anthem and BioWare and EA, it seemed like there was definitely some question as to whether they were going to continue with trying to build something out of this. I mean, so much so we saw how many times they delayed the Cataclysms and how they promised all this story stuff only to go silent for months and then finally come out and say, yeah, we're not doing that. So like, I don't know. Like, I just think so much of the messaging around the Anthem name has really burned it. And I think that they are capable of building something good out of this. I think Anthem Next could be a good game. I just don't know if people are going to give them the benefit of the doubt if they keep calling it Anthem Next.
I think like Anthem in itself was BioWare resting on its laurels from its past successes and going, hey, people love us. Let's do something completely different and off the wall, and they're going to have to like it because it's us.
It's that BioWare magic.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it was part of that, but I think it was also just they were working in a game type that they did not understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really, I think, had the games as a service model pushed on them in a way. And they just did not know how to implement that into a game. That's why everything turned into such repetitive nonsense over and over again. And like why the environments, like I think a lot of that, and then that and the rush timetable for it really made it where it was so straightforward in the environments that it presented and the missions that it presented. Like it was just, you play that game for 5 hours, you've played pretty much everything in it outside of like the major like raids or whatever, or the cataclysms as they call them.
Here's my recommendation. You take your Anthem and you take your Fallout 76 and kiss. Just put those teams right together and see what they come up with. Have fun. Spirit of the game, am I right? Maybe you'll both come up with something great.
Oh my god. It'll be Fallout 3076, in which we've already colonized Mars. And then we've had a nuclear war on Mars. And it's just going to be Fallout, but in space.
Listen, all I'm saying, BioWare, just call me. I've got ideas. I've got ideas for fucking days. I'm just spouting them off for free here on Mr. Video Games. Imagine if you paid me for them. Speaking of unique ideas, Ubisoft is going into a little bit of a lawsuit here on Apple and Google because their stores are selling what they call a near carbon copy of its Rainbow Six shooter. And boy, let's go to Bloomberg. Do they have the video on this? Oh yeah, that's right. Bloomberg. There's a reason I didn't use Bloomberg. Because incognito mode. Okay. Look, I don't want you guys knowing about my weird searches while we're doing the Mist of Video Games. You don't need to know that shit. Yeah, they're expecting Apple and Google's stores to pay because they are selling this here knockoff of Rainbow Six Siege. It's a little game called Area F2. Let me Google that. Brian, give me your thoughts while I'm looking it up.
Honestly, like, I'm not terribly familiar with Area F2, but it's really, unless there's like direct like IP being ripped off of here, like I don't know if you can necessarily sue because they basically made a game that's like Rainbow Six Siege. I need to know how deep this goes, you know, like
Let's take a look at some of these comparison videos then.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to look at.
Like, if it's a complete asset rip, then. But.
John, don't say shit about my waifus. Okay, so this is Rainbow Six Siege action going on.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what this is going to look like with Rainbow Six. You got your military grade, real to life action.
Very standard military first-person shooter.
Now, the company that makes it has said, "Oh, we're already in talks with Ubisoft. Why would they sue Apple and Google? We've already talked to them." Yeah, now here's Area F2. Okay, so you've got a tilted sniper rifle that looks similar, but the graphics look like absolute garbage. This screen hurts my eyes to look at. Okay, so the death counters and your ammo and whatnot, that's all basically the same, just downgraded models. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you're going to downgrade a game that's PC and console to run on a mobile device, then yeah, it would make sense that you've stripped the model slightly. But this is very much a direct asset rip.
Yeah, this is a hard one to argue.
Yeah, this is yeah, let's move forward a little bit, because yeah, this is you don't have a whole lot of room to stand, because every time I skip through, I'm like, wait, which one is it? Oh yeah, the one that's real actually looks decent.
Here's my question though. Why is Ubisoft suing the marketplaces and not the people that made the game?
Because the people that made the game are in China.
I get that. You can still sue people in China.
It's also a case of Apple and Google are supposed to be stopping counterfeits. It's part of their store's terms. And very obviously, they have allowed something that might actually cost. Give me a minute. I'm going to pull this up in the Play Store.
I believe it's free to play.
Yeah, from my understanding anyway. Is the no, it is not in this. Let's go with the Engadget article. Engadget will actually come up. Area F2, a game it claims is a near carbon copy of Rainbow Six, meant to piggyback on Ubisoft's success, claims Ubisoft, of course. I don't see any comment from. I do remember that Quokka had a statement of, we're in talks with Ubisoft. Well, I don't understand what you're doing.
I just I can't find that statement anywhere, and honestly, I don't know if that statement holds any water. Honestly, because if Ubi's gonna make a Rainbow Six Siege for mobile, they know how to make it more than likely. They don't need necessarily outsource to someone like Kuka. And here's the thing: like, if they're going to the marketplaces to get them to pull the game, I don't necessarily know if you need to like jump to, unless they've had discussions with Apple and Google about this and they've refused to pull the game off or haven't done anything about it. I don't see why Ubisoft's first move would be to sue them. I would feel like they would try and like file some kind of complaint with them first. Like that's the thing that is perplexing me. It's like why is it the first step a lawsuit in this instance? For at least from what we've seen, because we don't know about any prior communication between Ubisoft and Apple and Google. So I don't know.
Good luck suing Apple and Google. Maybe a conversation first before you try to poke the bear with a stick. Either way, let's go ahead and go to something really gross. I feel weird siding with Disney lawyers. Really weird. But coming from James Batchelor over at GameIndustry.biz, of course, they shut Club Penguin down, a couple years ago. Because apparently marketing to children doesn't really make you a whole lot of money, surprisingly. But the code for Club Penguin was fairly easy to get, and a whole lot of people have taken copies of Club Penguin and made online servers based around it, and completely have done away with all of the content filters that made Club Penguin a happy place for children. So now Disney has the fun joy of suing each one of the people that are hosting these because they are appalled because people be having penguin sex and doing a racism in the game that they developed. And yeah, no, Disney, go ahead. You're fine with this one. Please go ahead and do the lawsuit.
Good riddance. I never really followed Club Penguin.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm not the target demographic for Club
Surprise.
Penguin, right? And I know that it was popular beyond children. I know that, obviously, considering you still have 7 million people playing this one version of it. But yeah, no, done. Anything that is becoming a cesspool for take out the fucking penguin sexting that's happening in a game that's supposed to be built for children. Any place that's gonna just let discriminatory language run rampant with no filter in this sort of online environment, fuck that, get out of here. I'm not gonna be sad if you get thrown to the dust,
Especially in a children's game. I know that the original Club Penguin was a huge source for trolls in its original day, but it looks like the trolls, from the descriptions that I've read, have kind of ferreted into just weird, very weird. I don't like it. It's gross and I hate it.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Disney, go ahead, burn them all down. This has just become a haven for the lowest form of trash, and it upsets me because I can think of the implications. You've got little kids who get to play on the computer and go, "Oh, hey, look, Club Penguin's back," and they walk into this. And just no. Flat out no.
All right. Let's have a little bit of a palate cleanser from that thing. I don't want to sign into YouTube. Shit. No. I can't do it because I don't want to sign into YouTube. Mortal Kombat has the ability to do friendships. There, said it.
Well, yeah. They've always had that. Well, not always, but
yeah, in the old previous games, yes, but they're bringing it back, and boy, is that shit goofy. Thank you, Kelvin, for linking it. However, I didn't really realize that YouTube was going to age gate it, and so you had to be logged in first before you see it. Cool.
Just know that Kid Thunder is back, and that is enough to satiate
Mm.
anyone in this trying times. I will say this much though: they teased me with Melina. Why? Why put her in the friendship if she's not going to be a playable character in the game? Damn it!
I
It's
just like
Waluigi all over again.
I like Jax playing the saxophone. That one just made me way too happy.
Yes, especially considering that he's playing the Mortal Kombat theme from the movie
Mm.
while dressed as the sax guy from the Eurovision meme. Like, yes, love it.
Okay,
Kid Thunder,
let's
number
dive.
1 Thunder.
Let's just go ahead and dive back in. Stick to articles. Don't go with the YouTube. Page not found. Good tasty boys. What the fuck did I do to you, GameIndustry.biz?
1 second.
Yeah. This is a high production podcast that we live on in this day and age here at Mr. Video Game of the show. This is why you guys are here, right? To see the flailing and whatnot while we try to figure out what the fuck did I miscopy?
Nah, you didn't miscopy anything.
No?
Story got taken down.
Oh. Well, the story was that Tencent is starting a AAA studio in North America, but now that makes me wonder why that story got taken down. Did you guys find out something that was not correct?
Let's see.
You know, you look that up. While you're doing the lookup, there's a second part to the story, so let's go ahead and just get into it. It does look like Tencent is doing some bold moves into the Western market anyway. They have purchased the rights to System Shock 3. At least as far as we know that the ownership has traded place, which System Shock 3 has been into development for a while, so it's definitely a troubled game in the first place. So if they are taking ownership of it, that doesn't really surprise me that System Shock 3 and 4's websites have both been moved over to ownership with Tencent. And, you know, Tencent kind of has more money than God. So their slow domination of the video game sphere is moving along swiftly.
I've got a link in Discord for you for the North American studio. But the fact that Tencent is now doing System Shock 3, I've lost all faith in this game.
I don't really believe that Tencent is that necessarily evil. You know, they have definitely helped some games and companies that would not have been able to make it. But yeah, from what we know, Scott Warner, who has worked on, oh god, what did he work on? Why is my brain not working today? Anyway, he was definitely well known at Ubisoft previously. Very talented director being brought on to a North American studio for Tencent. But man, that being off of GameIndustry.biz, they're such a good studio. It kind of surprises me that there must be something about this story that was taken down. Oh, right. He has actually worked for three before on Halo 4, so you know, maybe he knows a little bit what he's doing. Not that Halo 4 is one of the most beloved games of all time, but you know, it's a fucking Halo game.
And he was the game director on Battlefield Hardline and some of the Star Wars games that never got released.
Oh, Battlefield Hardline.
And he was a design lead at Oculus before he jumped to Ubisoft San Fran.
All right. Well, I don't know why GI Biz pulled their article, but I thought that maybe it was just because there was an error in some of the announcement, but not like Scott Warner's out there saying that he's the director of a new Tencent studio. So
That's
I don't know.
Weird.
It's very weird. Either way, we'll see. Something might happen. There might be something else that there could be a development.
Yeah, if we find out anything on that, we'll update you. But right now, I mean, well, what is Scott Warner going to go out and lie about? He's, stating he's working for Tencent in North America, and maybe there's something in the facts for the original game industry thing.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, they usually would just we would usually just update the article with correction. You wouldn't pull the article like that.
You would think so.
Either
way, continuing along the line of global domination, the Epic Game Store put up Grand Theft Auto 5 for free and crashed not just their server, but Grand Theft Auto 5 servers for a period of time when, arguably one of the biggest games of the last decade goes up free. It's going to crash some shit and bring you some big old bandwidth pipes. Big old pipes.
So, remember how I said the salt was real?
Mm.
Because literally, 2-3 months ago, I paid for GTA 5.
Mm.
The fact that it's free,
Mm.
and it's also including the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack,
Mm.
which has $10 million worth of assets included in it,
Mm-hmm.
is a real piss off. And I don't know, because I've bought it through Epic, or I grabbed the freebie through Epic.
Yeah.
That includes that apparently. But I have the original purchase through Steam. Do you think I can link my Epic account and get that bonus too?
I would think so. Why wouldn't it?
Maybe. I hope. I want it.
Cross the fingers that you get all your free shit. But no, it's possibly the biggest thing that Epic could have pulled off. I don't know how they pulled this off, because, man, there had to be a lot of money in that. Now, granted, it does mean that Rockstar is going to sell a lot of them shark cards coming up soon, so, maybe that's where they're eyeing their balls on for right now, so...
I think right now Rockstar is more concerned with the stability of their servers.
True that.
Because Epic, yes, had a bunch of missing a bunch of problems when this went live.
Oh, yeah.
Rockstar just died.
I had the wonderful thing, when I pulled up the Epic Game Store when I took my lunch work break to just, see if I could log in and grab it. It went to a 505 screen, and I hit the refresh, and then the store reloaded for me in Spanish. Thankfully, I read Spanish, at a 6th grade level, so, or a 6-year-old level, I should say, not 6th grade. I'm not that good, but at a 6-year-old level. So I was able to navigate my way through just fine, and I kind of got amused by going to different games and looking up their descriptions in Spanish. But yeah, apparently a lot of people got Chinese and other languages randomly tossed in their faces. So there you go. But hey, despite that freeness and people complaining about a free thing not working on the first day, let's not get into that one. Thank you, The Verge. The U.S. just had the largest spending quarter in video games ever, $10.9 billion, up 9% from the year before. You think people are bored and are spending some money because they don't have a whole lot to do?
That's kind of terrifying. Really genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, the Switch sold $770 million in America of hardware alone. That's fucking crazy.
Well, especially when you consider that the stay-at-home orders didn't kick till mid to late March, which is the last month of your first quarter.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking terrifying.
These words coming out of my mouth are gross. But I can't think of a better way to say it to be. So please go with the spirit of what I'm saying, but not the words that are about to come out of my mouth. Nintendo lucked out in when they released Animal Crossing. They couldn't have done it at a time that they were going to make more money than on a game where you go visit your friends and hang out, because it's become this whole social thing. Kids are having their graduation ceremonies online. I read an article a few days ago that several people are celebrating Ramadan in the virtual space together so they can watch the stars. That shit's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you have people that are having their graduation ceremonies in Animal Crossing. AOC gave a commencement speech
Shit.
in Animal Crossing.
Give me that new incognito window. I'm sorry, I fucked it.
No, you're fine. Like, oh, this is crazy. This is a cool look. It was like mirrored on mirrored. Anyway,
Inception.
no, but like it was like the timing, you know, aside, like, yes, it is a very unstable time for the world right now, and there's a lot to be concerned about, and there's a lot to be upset about. There's a lot to mourn, but the timing for these games releases, like, it did gangbusters.
Oh yeah.
For everyone involved, you know, and like, I know there have been some people out there like conspiracy that it was just Nintendo trying to sell more animal bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. You know, like these things have been set up for a while. We've seen some games push back, you know. So like, I don't know. It's telling. People are stuck at home and they want something to do and they need ways to connect virtually, and you know, games are a great way to do that. You know, it's the best way to maintain community.
Like, I will fully admit, I sat up till almost 2 a.m. This morning playing Jackbox through a Zoom meeting with my sister, her fiance, and their wedding party, because her wedding was due to happen in June. It's been pushed back to late October now.
Oh.
Hoping that everything will be open again. But that was a way for the entire wedding party to get together and hang out and get to know each other. I mean, what better way than to be accusing each other of being aliens bent on sabotaging a spaceship?
Well, I already knew that about you, bud.
Love you, Trav.
I am. Yeah, it's a weird time. But hey, while we're talking about how much money the video game industry made, there were two announcements that came out of fucking nowhere. The first one, Nintendo dropped without so much as giving us anything else along with it. Just this. Let's lower the volume on this a little bit. This trailer dropped out of goddamn nowhere. I know that there have been some rumors and speculation that there would be a Mario RPG coming, especially since Nintendo had announced its year of Mario. But to drop this with, you know, no Nintendo inside or anything, just, hey, here's the announcement, and this trailer suddenly appears, and it is a beautiful looking trailer. I love it, and yes, I'm getting this. This is coming into my house, and I cannot wait to touch it with my meat hands.
This is legitimately the main reason I want to Switch now. I need this. I love Paper Mario.
Oh, what if you can take the touchscreen and like move the paper around with your own meat fist hands and then make things yourself.
And actually do the origamis in the virtual space. Yes.
Or maybe they show you how to make the origami Marios.
If they do that, you need to come up here with your Switch so I can learn how to make the origami Marios. Or you need to do a stream so I can learn to make the origami Marios and you don't have to listen to me swear at it.
Yeah, just everything about this is so goddamn adorable looking. Down to that little folding Bowser thing that came out.
Yeah, this is perfect. This is exactly what Nintendo needed to do. It's like this is perfect. I mean, where else are you gonna see these big block letters and origami plot? How good just that alone sells me on this thing. Like it's gonna be like Paper Mario is adored throughout the Nintendo fandom, and this is the perfect next game for them to put out. It was very telling. We talked about like what is Nintendo going to do next. They don't have a ton coming up for the rest of the year. And I'm like, they have a banger. Lo and behold,
yeah, just suddenly dropped a banger out of nowhere. Giant Pie, Mario and Bowser work a lot together when you're talking about the RPGs, all the way back to Super Mario RPG for the SNES, but you had the Bowser Inside story and Sticker Star story where they work together, and I believe they work together in one of the Paper Marios. What I'm saying is, they're bros on the side. That's about it. There's been some gameplay trailer and information for Paper Mario, and the gameplay looks dope. Everything about it looks good. I mean, this isn't going to be the most in-depth RPG, time you're going to have of your life. But, if you want, there is such good writing in all of the Mario RPG things that Nintendo puts out. I have no doubt this will be a banger. I've never played one of the console Mario RPGs, but I was a portable Nintendo fanboy for fucking ever. So I played all the, Sticker Star, Bowser Inside Story, blah blah blah, and those were good as shit. So I'm excited to play a real Paper Mario straight line.
I now need to save my pennies and try to find a Switch. Because like right now all I can find for sale up here are Switch Lites. And if I'm gonna get a Switch, I'm gonna get the actual Switch. It's like $150 difference.
Yeah,
it's like $399 up here for a Switch and $250 for a Switch Lite.
admittedly, thanks to the COVIDs, we are seeing reduced hardware availability. Actually, in some countries, you're seeing Switches go on the black market for or gray market or what have you for numbers of $800 to $1,000 per Switch. So Jesus Christ.
Well, we saw
Dumb
the results of my
numbers.
search last week where I found that limited edition one for $1,700.
Ugh.
Yep, just dumb all around.
And it was also through Walmart, and I've had bad experiences with them delivering shit because they use UPS, who decided to leave a package in my unsecured lobby. Guess who never got that package?
I can guess, possibly. But hey, that's not the game announcement trailer that came out of nowhere that got me going. So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was maybe one of my favorite games of all time. When I was a kid, I was fucking floored by the original game. I cannot tell you how many hours I put into the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater to see 1 and 2 coming back with the majority of the original songs in it being remastered by the people who did the Crash trilogy. I'm going to play this way too hard and way too long. I've already ordered the skateboard special thing. I've never bought a special box in my whole life of any video game ever. And I'm buying the one with the $60 skateboard thing in it. And I am not afraid of it. They've even put out the soundtrack on Spotify, so you can listen to one of the dopest fucking soundtracks of all time on your Spotify. Say something because I'm just over here drooling at the moment.
No, that's perfectly fine. No, this game, this was probably my favorite announcement in practice that I've seen in a while. Because literally, the way this got broken was that Tony Hawk was just DMing people.
Yeah, they
It's
told
like,
people
hey.
to text his cell phone, and he texted them all back with this announcement.
Yeah, so like, hey, Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remasters, like they're a common. Just like, all right, Tony Hawk, cool. And like, I love the fact that they're like scanning in the aged versions of all the characters. Like that's just, it's so good. It's so good.
That makes me really happy.
I can't wait to see like 53-year-old Rodney Mullen pulling all of his like manuals and stuff. Like, it's just great.
What if
like this? Sorry, go ahead.
No, please continue gushing.
No, it's just like this is like the most feel good story that I've had this week. Like this is just perfect. This is just it's probably the next biggest thing that I'm looking forward to on the gaming calendar, personally.
God, Goldfinger, Dead Kennedys, The Vandals, Rage Against the Machine, Bad Religion, fucking Naughty by Nature, The Ernies, The Suicide Machine, Power Man 5000, Popper, Roach even, fine, bring them along.
The only thing that sucks is that Bring the Noise is not going to be in it.
Yeah.
That's the only bummer about this whole thing.
See, I wonder though, they're scanning in the aged versions of all of these skaters. What if they take it to the next level of realism and you wipe out super hard and you break a hip?
Oh god.
I'd be into it. Knowing the attitude of the Tony Hawk games, I would not be surprised at all if there's some kind of in joke like that somewhere.
So there's Tony Hawk and Chad Muska just kind of hanging out, having a chat, like you do.
So good.
Oh, do they have any of? No, they're just fucking talking. There's none of the pictures in it, but man, I am way too happy about this bullshit.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited, especially considering what Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 looked like, and how that thing just crashed and burned.
Or almost the ride piece of garbage.
Ugh.
I will fully admit I never played the originals. I wanted to, never got to, because I didn't own any of the systems. But I think I might have to dive into these now.
Well, when the border opens, I will be dragging it to Canada so you can watch this dumb bullshit. I do not promise to be good at Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but God, I can't wait for it. I cannot wait to go back to the school and grind the rails.
Dude, I flail at the best of times. Can you imagine me trying to actually do the grace and poise required to do some skating?
The opening drop in the warehouse. Oh, I can't wait to try to jump through the things.
This just makes me want to break out. I also have a copy of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on PlayStation 1 that I feel the need to break out now because we're talking about this so much. Like, my wrestling simulations be damned. I need to play Tony Hawk.
My copy of Tony Hawk was sold by stolen by my friend's weed dealer from me, and when I finally found it, it was scratched to shit. So I haven't played it in a long time.
I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna borrow a Coop expression on this one. Kick him in the dick.
There you go.
Anyway, we've got one last story for you here while we're riding this high of joy. 2 weeks in a row, we get to make fun of Billy Mitchell. God has been good to me. Look at this face. Look at this face. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but look at that face.
I'll say it.
I hereby nominate him as like the person with the most punchable face.
Oh, no, that's Richard Spencer.
I still want to slap the smarmy right off of this guy.
He is now suing YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 million because Apollo Legend did some vidges showcasing how he would have cheated if he did, and showing his homework, his research on this. This isn't the only person that Billy Mitchell is suing, but he's suing Apollo Legend specifically for $1 million because he made an angry video game video on YouTube. The lawsuit that Mr. Benjamin Smith, his response to the lawsuit, of course, was at first to go, I can probably get a lawyer, but, it's not going to be fun enough on its own. I can afford a lawyer to get this kicked out of garbage jail. Instead, he went the whole way and opened a GoFundMe with a promise to countersue Billy Mitchell if he raised $10,000. I believe he has closed it now at the total amount of $28,791. Any extra money will go towards fighting Billy Mitchell. There will be a refund of the extra money if that can happen. Oh, wait, actually.
We might have an update on this story.
Yeah, shit.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm looking into this real quick.
Due to unforeseen circumstances, campaign has been canceled. I was not forced to cancel this campaign. This cancellation has nothing to do with Billy Mitchell. Everyone will receive a full refund. We are still fighting Billy Mitchell in every way. More details soon. Okay, so some weird legal shit apparently must be going on. And probably not due to Billy Mitchell himself. Yeah, literally, the videos were not, defamatory. It didn't say, Billy Mitchell punches kittens and steals your uncle's weed or anything. It's, hey, here is the proof that he cheated, and he actually dressed as Billy Mitchell and flew to a convention that Billy Mitchell was at so he could talk to Billy Mitchell because he knew the only way you're going to get inside and have a conversation with the man is to stroke that fragile ego.
Okay, so here's the update. So Benjamin posted something on his YouTube channel, Apollo Legend, following him closing the GoFundMe. Basically, he talked to the lawyers representing Twin Galaxies in the situation because there had been discussion with multiple people that were being sued by Billy Mitchell in this defamation, this collection of defamation lawsuits that he filed about the potential for countersuing. And according to what Benjamin is saying on his video is that according to the Twin Galaxies attorneys, there really isn't much of a base for a countersuit to really go anywhere. And so Benjamin is rethinking his strategy, and therefore he closed the GoFundMe and is refunding everyone their money. So all of that $28,791 is going back to the people that donated it, while he tries to figure out exactly what's to be done in terms of recourse for the lawsuits that are being filed against him.
Okay.
Yeah. So the situation is still developing. So we'll see what happens. Like, this isn't necessarily a donezo deal, but for right now, Benjamin is returning all the money. There's no plans to countersue at the moment, but that could change depending on how things play out. He's remaining in contact with Twin Galaxies just to kind of gauge the situation as it keeps going forward, because obviously they're linked in this now because of Billy Mitchell's dumbassery. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But for now, yeah, Billy Mitchell filed another dumb lawsuit against somebody for something that is not defamation.
You know, that is the face of somebody who walks into the restaurant at 7:59 p.m. when it closes at 8 and demands the most complicated menu thing on the menu. That is the summation of that face. Just so gross.
I think he has the male equivalent to the "Can I speak to your manager" haircut.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong. A little bit, just a little bit of the fedora in that look. I know
Well,
he's not wearing it,
that's
but
the shirt buttoned up beyond where it should be, and the tie done far too tight with a really crappily done knot.
Yeah. Furthermore, on Ben reasons for pulling the GoFundMe. Apparently, the lawyer he contacted originally, not Twin Galaxy's lawyer, but the lawyer that he contacted for himself in terms of trying to get information of filing an anti-SLAPP suit against Billy Mitchell, did not, according to Benjamin, did not have a ton of knowledge and did not do any very little review of any of the evidence in the case before throwing out a price tag.
oh,
So it seems like the $10,000 goal of the GoFundMe, original goal of it, was linked directly to the price tag for that attorney, who Benjamin has since ceased communication with because he just didn't feel like there was they were really taking the case seriously or had a good working knowledge of the case or anti-SLAPP laws in general. So yeah, it just seems like it was just a bad situation for him to really try and fight this. He says he still denies all of Billy Mitchell's claims against him and that he intends to fight the lawsuit to the fullest extent possible. So we'll see what path that takes, but he's not stopping. Just he did not want to play willy-nilly with other people's money in this situation.
yeah,
Especially
good on him.
with a lawyer who clearly was not.
You cut out a bit, but I got the spirit of it. Yeah, no, we are going to bring you literally every tiny update to this lawsuit because I think all of us just find Billy Mitchell as hilarious as we seem to find him. What a weird fucking dude. What a human being that man is.
You said it.
But of course, here at Mr. Video Games, we cannot end an episode just with making fun of Billy Mitchell. Oh, no, 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 no. We have to name the Mr. Video Game of the week for the week of 5/18/2020. Of course, Mr. Video Games, the thing, the place, the noun that is so good, bad, adjective, that it just you stare at it. You look at it with your meaty eyeballs and go, that shit is video games all over. And the winner of Mr. Video Games for Monday, May the 18th, 2020, is the writer of a Persona 2 guide. This guy... So someone happened to be looking up Persona 2 and went and found an old GameFAQs, and apparently this person, that guy 4913, upon his guide, wasn't able to legally make major changes to the guide that weren't factual because he had, a contract with GameFAQs. But let's try to read through this.
Oh please, just for the record for everyone listening, I had 2 other suggestions for Mr. Video Games, and then Travis showed this to me, and I was fucking done.
Now,
No
of course,
competition.
we have no idea if that guy is being a troll or not. But years after originally writing and posting this guide, I now take moral offense at this game and would prefer that neither this guide nor the game exist. The only reason I have not removed this guide is I have submitted under contract that it be allowed to stay on GameFAQs' site. Their staff have been very helpful to me, and I hope that my petitions and comments might eventually reach someone who can remove it. My complaints against this game are against its glorification of demons and evil spirits, and also against its promotion of witchcraft through tarot and other means. Tarot card divination, fortune telling is expressly witchcraft. Both of the blaspheme against the God, Almighty God, Jesus. Promotion of demon worshipping and witchcraft is common across Japanese media, produced media, including anime and video games, and therefore I would caution anyone who is aware of these dangers to become aware of these dangers to be aware of these two mediums as a whole. However, I will comment on a few more lies found in this game. Who's the most powerful demon / persona in the Shin Megami Tensei Persona games? The devil Satan, not Lucifer. That's not really a name for the devil. Only has what authority Jesus gave him. In other words, the devil is a wimp.
1 second. 1 second. I love that he clarifies that Lucifer is not a name for the devil, even though Lucifer is clearly a name for the devil.
At the...
I just
At the end of all time, the devil and all fallen angels and all wicked humans will be permanently destroyed. Gone. No sin will be in the kingdom. Contrary to popular belief, dying is not cool. Point 2. Since all the Persona games have their own little end of the world stories, which are false, I think you should know the way it will really end. First, the end-time son of perdition will be revealed in a strong delusion in God's temple in heaven. 30 days later will be the huge invasion of the Gog/Magog war, which is Russia, China, Syria, and Iran successfully invading the rest of the world. This last...
wait a sec, Trav.
Yeah?
Could I get you to go full Southern preacher on this? Because, like, this sounds like it needs to be full Southern preacher.
I don't know if my voice will sustain that, to be honest, but I'll...
I can do it.
Yeah, you pick it up, Brian. Go for it.
Okay, let me get to the point here because I got lost in laughing that I lost your point. Here we go. Okay. That lasts for 1,260 days. Then the next 45 days consist of the death of the two witnesses, the first resurrection (parentheses seventh trumpet), and the wrath of God at the same time as the marriage supper in heaven. On the 1335th day, Jesus Christ returns to establish his kingdom on earth, destroys the son of perdition and the false prophet, and imprisons Satan and his fallen angels until the second resurrection, which is another opportunity for all unsaved to repent towards God and achieve eternal life. I wish I had known about the curse on this game and the many others like it. Where were all the hundreds of millions of Christians while I was playing these games? They must be a bunch of fakes because I never heard a single warning. Well, consider yourself informed, and if you don't believe the warning, then believe because of the consequences. There really is a curse for disobedience. I pray more people will wake up to the reality of the evil in this world and stop supporting it. I'm not going to read the Bible verses. Fuck that shit.
I can't breathe.
I mean, I could read it because, I'm not down against Bible verses and shit, but holy fuck, what the hell?
This is a thing of beauty. I absolutely adore this. I have a Southern Baptist preacher in my family, so that's just a natural voice for me to bring out. It's fun.
If you're a troll,
Yeah.
God bless you for it, because that shit is great.
This is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Apparently a 9-year gap between writing a Persona 2 guide and finding Jesus makes you do ridiculous things, and also really xenophobic. So cool.
Because Giant Pie, he found Jesus between these two times, and he found out that maybe some video games say some bad things about religion. Ooh. It's like the Harry
Guys.
Potter moms.
Don't tell him that Devil May Cry exists.
The devil will cry when Jesus comes down with his 7 angels and 7 trumpets.
Yes. Yes. He will cry at the trumpets.
The trumpets.
Trumpets will make him weep into his fiery pits, and then the steam will come up, and it will bless us all. I don't know. It's Jesus stuff. It's there.
So wait. Trumpets and steam. So a ska show with pyro?
Everybody's gonna be scamping.
You're gonna pick it up, and by it, I mean the Bible, my boy. The Bible, the holiest of holy.
Real big fish, constantly on loop in heaven.
Okay, this has been Mr. Video Games. Oh, let's into the end title card. All right.
I don't think I've laughed so hard that I've cried during the show in the last year of helping out with it.
I'm glad we chose that one. That's all right. Brian, you got any final words for us this evening?
Well, I don't know if I can follow up that, but definitely everybody be well, continue taking care of yourself, especially as more and more states push to open here, and just be safe about what you do. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody to stay inside. If people don't want to stay inside, you're not going to stay inside, that sort of thing. Just be safe about it, you know. Wash your hands, at least do that, and wear a damn mask. It's not a sign of weakness, as many dumb people online have been yelling about. Outside of that, you can check out my writing at outsports.com. I had a fun piece go up over at fanbyte.com about pro wrestling and politics in Washington, D.C., which is thumbs up, good stuff. And then also I have my queer pro wrestling podcast, LGBT in the Ring, that's on Outsports' podcast feed every Thursday. This week I have Dark Chic from Hood Slam on there, which is going to be fun. Is Hood Slam, for anybody not in the know about that, is probably one of the most ridiculous pro wrestling organizations in the country, and one of the most progressive ones as well. It's the most progressive organization that has a wrestler literally named Drugs Bunny, who throws powder onto people while they scream drugs at him when he comes to the ring. Also, there's a fighting Ryu and Ken. So,
fair enough. Marilyn, any final words?
Firstly, want to say my thoughts go out to the Canadian Forces, the Snowbirds.
yes.
On Sunday, there was a crash in BC, killed Captain Jennifer Casey, severely injured Captain Richard McDougall. I'm really saddened to hear about this, especially since they were in the process or had just finished doing essentially flyovers of major cities across Canada to try to bring some joy in these trying times. So definitely my thoughts and love go out to them and their families and their crew. Beyond that, guys, be safe out there. I know the weather's starting to get nicer, and if you want to get outside, do it responsibly. There's a lot of us that are at risk, and you never know who you're going to have contact with. So just be careful, be responsible, wash your hands, like Brian said, wear a mask. I try to wear mine as often as I can. For streaming, I will be around, I hope. I had a really rough week last week, and I do apologize for bailing on both of my streams. Keep an eye on Twitter, and I'll update y'all then. But yeah, love each other. Be cool. Be the change you want to see in the world. And we'll all get through this just fine.
All right. Remember, as always, all of our socials for our Twitters, the Discord that we're all on, are links in the doobly-doo below the video you be watching if you're watching on Twitch. Of course, we export every video to CBGB Games. As far as the weekend streams I was doing here, in order to feel like something I enjoy doing more, I do have an idea at this moment. I don't know if anyone has either seen the YouTube videos or read the old articles that I did entitled The History of the World, where I went over basically the origins of certain games and eventually went into all of the story and history about that. I'm looking into a way to bring that into more of a YouTube or Twitch environment instead, to have it be more of a conversational class sort of idea. If this sounds interesting to anyone out there and you have ideas, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to try to hash out this idea in my own head and get a episode together, sort of a demo for it, probably over the next week or two. But anyway, thank you everyone for coming. As always, have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
Bye.